What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? How are you doing today? How's that for the Yuden Chronicle soundtrack, huh? Poor game. With localization. This is actually music from when the game was announced. Pretty much from the trailers and stuff. You go out into the overworld and the music sounds a bit different. Wow, what a serious delay there. What happened? Because of the latency? Probably, huh? Changed. I had this ultra low latency and now I have low latency. Why? I don't know, don't ask. Just want to try different things. Different setups to see if it worked, to see if the delay gets decreased. Because if you stream in an ultra low latency, don't ask me to explain those terms, please, because I have no clue what they really mean. All I know is that there's normal latency, low latency, and ultra low latency. If you stream in ultra low latency, you guys there's a better experience and better engagement apparently, but you also get more delays. Like I say something and you get it like 30 seconds later. And in low latency, same, but the delay is decreased. And now you get like 20 seconds later, maybe 15 seconds later. The engagement isn't that fantastic, but it's great. Normal is with no engagement. That's what I should have used last night for the stream of the music. But the streaming software still went monkey fuck. So there was just no point. What's up, everybody? Are you ready for your damn questions? I am. I am ready for your damn questions. Hope you're ready for my damn answers. It's that damn Q&A again. What do we got today? We got we got Sony and Square Enix in a cat fight. We got Square Enix saying, you know what? I made a deal with you assholes. I made a deal because I wanted to keep the exclusivity tradition alive. So Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 Rebirth were exclusive to the PlayStation 5. They still are. But now it's all about Square Enix saying, you know what? I'm not selling that much, Sony. And I think it's because my games are trapped in your consoles. And Sony's like, so what's the big deal? You're not getting a lot of money anymore? What's the big deal? Sell less. It's got its benefits to stay exclusive to PlayStation 5. And Square Enix is like, no, it's not, dude. So I'm gonna go and release my games on PC, maybe? Probably on PS4, probably on Xbox as well. Maybe even on Switch? Sony's like, no way, man. You can't do this to us. You can't do this to us. People are not gonna buy PlayStation 5 anymore. Square Enix is like, well, your console is pretty damn expensive. And half of the gaming world doesn't own a PS5 because it's too damn expensive. So, yeah. I'm going, man. I'm gonna release my games on PC, and Sony is like, you go that route, man, you're not coming back. And Square Enix is like, okay, nice knowing you. Now, I'm just making this up. I don't know exactly what happened, but the point is that Square Enix, Final Fantasy, their games are no longer going to be exclusives. They are trying to stay away from that. The era of exclusive is over. It's long over. Nothing should be exclusive anymore, in my opinion. Stellar Blade should come to PC, and I'm pretty sure it will. Because of the censorship controversy it went through. The developers are like, yeah, I'm going to release my game on PC because, you know, so people can mod it and uncensor it, you know, because fuck you, Sony. That's why. Fuck you, Sony. So, you guys know me. In my opinion, fuck you, Square Enix as well, but for once I agree with them. Fuck you, giving Sony the middle finger. There we go. So can you expect Final Fantasy 16, which I don't recommend, but whatever. And can you expect Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth on any other consoles in the future? Yeah, I think so, because Square Enix just gave the middle finger to Sony. So what's gonna happen? They're gonna try and release their games on other systems. Switch, I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth on Switch, I don't see that happening. I don't think so, but it could happen though, but I don't think so, because it's just too much graphical power for the Switch to handle. And it's gonna look like shit and play like shit on the Switch. Let's face it, I love the Switch, you guys know me, but it's just too much for the Switch. PC, definitely, most likely. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Remake, when it came out 4 years ago, it was exclusive to the PlayStation 4 for a while. And then it got ported to the PS5 and also on PC. So yeah, PC is definitely happening. I definitely see that happening. The last two Final Fantasy games on PC, definitely. Xbox consoles, I don't know, but it could be though. Something tells me they will be available there too. Why not? Why the hell not? Most people are not gonna buy them there, but I'm pretty sure someone will. But Switch, no, I don't think so. Anyway, so yeah. For once, I agree with Square Enix. This is a good decision to tell Sony to fuck off and release their games on different consoles, because nothing, in my opinion, should be exclusive anymore. That shouldn't exist anymore. Except when it comes to first party games like the Nintendo our first IPs. I mean, Mario, Zelda, and maybe some like Halo, for example, God of War. Okay, I still see the magic of the tradition of keeping those games exclusive to their systems. Besides, they are first party games, so yeah. Mario on an Xbox console or PlayStation, I don't know about that. But yeah, Final Fantasy definitely needs to come out of the PlayStation 5 exclusivity, at least on PS4, so more people can play their games. Yeah. By the look at my face, you can see that I really don't care that much. Anyway. Freaking mosquitoes. Whoa, that's loud. That's Dusk Diver, baby. Good beat 'em up. Well, if they release the new Final Fantasy games on the Switch too, which I'm pretty sure will come out next year, I'm almost 100% sure, because Nintendo said, no, not this year, next year. So, yeah, it's happening, guys. Nintendo Switch 2.0, Super Switch. Please call it the Super Switch. Next year. Yeah, the Final Fantasy games on the Super Switch will probably work, just not today's Switch. Do you think Kingdom Hearts will come to Steam? No, and I couldn't care less. Don't really care about those games. Games are so expensive to make now, exclusivity makes no sense, right? Exactly. They cost too much. They cost millions of US dollars to make. Tens of millions of yens to make. As a marketing strategy, it makes no fucking sense. Exclusivity makes no sense anymore. I want to dive into strategy RPGs. I have some experience, but I never finished any Fire Emblem or Grow Lancer games. Wow, okay, which of these two you recommend to play first? I think you should stick to Fire Emblem, because Grow Lancer is a bit more complicated and way more difficult. It's definitely a challenge, so I recommend you stick to Fire Emblem. Just try to stick to the older titles. Some of them have an easy mode, or some of them not so old, you know, you could work out. They have like no easy mode, but they have a casual mode in which your units don't die. There's no permadeath, so if any of your units gets defeated, you know, they're okay. They come back on the next map. They don't die. They don't go away. So stick to Fire Emblem, or find other strategy RPGs. Maybe I've done videos on strategy RPGs for beginners. Check that video out. It will probably help you. Maybe you need to play other easier, more friendly strategy RPGs first before you start delving into Fire Emblem or even Grow Lancer, right? Yeah. just try something else. Try other strategy RPGs. There's a crap ton of strategy RPGs out there. Most of them are hard, tough, not exactly for beginners, but check that video out. It will probably help you. Thank you, J.A. Is the physical version of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters worth getting? If so, which console? I have no idea. First and foremost, I don't have the Pixel Remasters. I don't own a physical version. Second, I think the best version is probably the PlayStation version because it's graphically speaking superior to the Switch. But I think the PlayStation 4 version is expensive as hell and it's kind of rare. So I think you should stick to the Switch version just because of the price. That's it. Though I have no idea if it's a good version, if it plays well. I don't know, man. To be honest, I can't help you. Sorry, man. And even the Switch version, I'm pretty sure it's not that cheap anymore. I'm not sure how much it goes for, but the last time I made a video last year about the rarest JRPGs ever so far. Didn't do very well in views. Probably most of you don't remember the video or didn't watch it. I covered Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters there. The PS4 version. It was like 100 and I don't know, it was hundreds of dollars. You know, I don't think it's worth getting. Switch version, I don't know. Anyway, so I want to buy either one on Steam. Which should I get? Nier Automata or Scarlet Nexus or Code Vein? Okay, they're very different games. The only thing they have in common is that they're action RPGs, kind of hack and slash. Code Vein, keep in mind, is kind of the battle mechanics are Souls-like, so it's pretty damn hard. So keep that in mind. Scarlet Nexus is more balanced, but it's still kind of challenging nonetheless. It's a very story-driven game. So Nier Automata is like, you know, waifus and shit. And it's got a killer psychological story. And it's a must play. In my opinion, you should get all three. But if you only have money for one, I will probably choose Code Vein. Because that's my favorite out of those three. But if you're not into Souls games, I'd go, if I were you, with Nier Automata. It's just better than Scarlet Nexus. Even though Scarlet Nexus is still a blast to play. Did you hear that Dead End Request 3 is being developed? Yes, I did, and they are going to release this little spin-off this year. I forget the name, but it's going to be a roguelike RPG with characters from the two previous games and a new protagonist, you know. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's being developed, but unfortunately I don't trust Idea Factory anymore. They are... I don't know if there's some DEI in there, but this is the type of company that... yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with Dead End Request 3, I don't want to talk about it. Have you finished every art on Elico? Yes, I have! All 4 of them! I didn't play the visual novel on the PS Vita, Shield, No Shirt, No Search. Yeah, I didn't play it, but the other 4 games that did come out of Japan, I beat all 4 of them. Yes, I did. Have you seen Runa, a JRPG with turn-based battles? It's developed by a Spanish studio, then it's a Spanish RPG, not a Japanese RPG. I think I've heard of it, but I barely know anything about it. Which is better, is 8 or 9? I've answered that question 10,000 times already. Both games are just as good, man. It's all a matter of which type of storytelling you like more. If you like darker storytelling, go with 9. Someone played Mato Anomalies based on my review, that's cool. The card section is terrible. I wouldn't say it's terrible, it had great ideas, it's just poorly executed. It didn't do... I don't think the developers really thought that through. They wanted to make it challenging, but they just didn't know how. And they came up with that demons system and it ruined it. Yeah, it isn't terrible, especially not because you can skip it. I won some battles, you know, there were several battles that I won, even on the first try. I got lucky somehow, but yeah, about more than half of the battles I ended up skipping. I mean, it's just dumb, man. And if you change to easy mode, it doesn't seem to apply to the card battles. It makes regular turn-based battles easier, but the card battles are just as difficult. I don't know. Matto Anomalies is, it could have been like, it could have been almost a masterpiece, you know? Had everything to be a masterpiece, but it's just so flawed. So many problems with it. But I think it's still worth playing, despite those problems. Is this a Witch's Tale? Yes, it is. This is a little Nintendo DS game by one of the worst JRPG developers of all time, which is Hitmaker. But this is the only one that is kinda decent. It's okay, but eventually, the more you play, the more tired you get. It gets boring, repetitive. It's just. Do I recommend it? Oh my god. Square Enix is ridiculous. Final Fantasy VI is $20. Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered is $1 million. Final Fantasy 16 is already $20? Oh my god, it hasn't even been a year and it's exclusive to PS5. Yoshi P did say that they're gonna release a PC demo soon. There you have it. What about Final Fantasy VI? Oh. Which Final Fantasy VI version do you recommend playing? I can only recommend the ones that I personally played. I haven't played the Pixel Remasters. So I recommend either the Super Nintendo original version or the Game Boy Advance version. Those two are the best for me. If you can't get your hands on either, stick to the PS1 version. It's not too bad. It's still good. It's just the encounter rate is a bit higher than usual, but that's its only flaw in my opinion. Can't marry a man, I'm straight. You play any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy games? Damn. Yes, I did. I did one. I just can't remember if it was the PS2 game or the GameCube game. There's one called the Falls Bound Kingdom? Something like that? Falls Bound something like that, I remember. Is that the one on the GameCube? I think that's the one on the GameCube. And then there's one on PS2 called whatever of the Roses, something like that. Anyway, I did play one and it was good. I'm not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was good. But to be honest, I ditched it because I'm not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. I gave up, and I don't know. There's something about the Yu-Gi-Oh series that doesn't appeal to me. Card games, I mean, yeah, I play some regular, usual, average card games out there, but it's rare. I like them. But when it comes to card games like Magic the Gathering, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, stuff like that, you know, I've tried some of them. I've tried Yu-Gi-Oh in real life. I remember trying it out for the first time ever with a friend a long time ago, years ago. And beginner's luck, man, I won. He was pretty much an expert and I beat the crap out of him. But even then I was like, you know, it's just not for me. I don't find the appeal in this. And I've also played some mini games in JRPGs, like Eiyuden Chronicle, for example. I played a little card game, and I had to because it forces you to play it, and you gotta beat one character to recruit that character. Otherwise, you don't recruit this character, and therefore you get the bad ending. So I forced myself to learn, and I didn't dislike the card game, you know, but I wouldn't play it again. And when it comes to real life or Yu-Gi-Oh, the whole franchise, video games or not, you know, I'm just not into them. So when I played the Falls Bound Kingdom, yeah, I think I remember ditching it after, like, I made one mission, which is a tutorial mission. I was like, you know what, this is good, this is actually good, but wasn't for me. Not interested in the Yu-Gi-Oh games, unfortunately. But are they bad? Are they something I don't recommend? I do recommend them if you like, but you gotta be a fan of the series, and you gotta be a fan of strategy RPGs. Not all of them are strategy RPGs. There are some Yu-Gi-Oh games where there's just a card battle system and that's it. But there are others, like those games that Falls Bound, the Kingdom 1 on the GameCube, The one on the PS2, which is Duelist of the Roses. Capsule Monster Coliseum, yeah, those are the PS2 games. I didn't play that one. But yeah, those are strategy RPGs, and like I said, they're good. Not for me, but they're good. They aren't bad. So if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And strategy RPGs, they are recommended. But I've heard that they can get ridiculous at some point. I don't know about that. Which do you prefer, Suikoden or Suikoden? I like Suikoden 5 and Suikoden 2 more than Eiyuden Chronicle. Eiyuden Chronicle kinda ties up there with Suikoden 1 and 3. Out of nostalgia, I will choose the Suikoden games, but Eiyuden Chronicle is great. Have you made a list of JRPGs you finished? No, I should though. That would be a good idea, you know. I should... One of these days I should just sit down. I did that 5-6 years ago, and I made a video about that, which you can find on this channel. But that's an old video, 2018 I think, 2018, 2019. I don't remember how long ago it was, but back then I did do the count, and it was almost 200, right? So it's been 5 years. Imagine. I think I can safely say that I did more than 300, but I don't know yet. Did you play Pokemon Conquest? It's a strategy RPG. Yes, I did. I played it. Same with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. It's a good game. I thought it was a really weird and obnoxious idea, like a crossover between Pokemon and Nobunaga's ambition. That's just freaking ridiculous, to be honest. But gameplay-wise, the game was good. It was decent. It was just too average for my taste, so I ditched it and never went back. But yeah, it's a good little game. Well, I can't say that I recommend it, but yeah, maybe if you like Pokemon and strategy RPGs, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Not for me, but maybe it will be for you. What's your favorite PS Vita game that is not a remake or remaster? That will be no remakes and no remasters. So that will be Ys 8. Actually, Ys 8 was developed for the PS Vita. The PS4 version is kind of a port, in case you didn't know. So Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, will be my favorite PS Vita game that is not a remaster or a remake or anything of the sort. Ys 8. If you played it already, I will definitely choose Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. That's where I beat them. I've never played the PS3 versions. I played the PS Vita versions, which are almost identical. So, and they are in ports. They were developed for both systems simultaneously. So, Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, definitely. Lost Dimension is another one. It's also on PS3, but it was released initially on the PS Vita. Lost Dimension, that's a great, underrated strategy RPG. Pretty damn good. No, not excited for Meta 4 Refantasio. Is Agarest War worth to pick up? If you like grind fests, and I mean huge grind fest, like 80% of the game is gonna be grinding over and over and over again. That's a strategy RPG, grid base, and yes, it's a good one. The first one is really good, so but it's a grind fest. What JRPGs do you consider not for me without even trying them out? No, and I always try something else before I can say, you know, this is not for me. Kind of like some dungeon crawlers in first person, Pokemon, Kingdom Hearts. I play them just so I could say, you know what, this is not for me. I don't think, I mean there are games, not just RPGs, you know, but there's a lot of games. Like, I know for a fact I'm never gonna play any fucking rhythm game like the Britney Spears games or the Persona dancing games, you know, it's just no. But yeah, even the ones that I hate passionately or that I insult regularly, I played them. Even though I kind of knew they weren't going to be for me. You know, but I did play them. And then I realized they weren't for me. The Switch version of Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster is expensive on PlayAsia. The physical copies are $83.90. Oh, that's just ridiculous. Hey Eric. Hey David. After playing a Yuden Chronicle, are we going to see more RPGs from Kickstarters? Yeah, we've been seeing them for a long time already, man. Or are you trying to ask if I'm going to cover more RPGs from Kickstarters? If so, then I'm not sure I really cover them, because we're living in a day and age where if you support a Kickstarter and it ends up being destroyed by DEI and politics, you're kind of like, oh my god, I supported this and this happened. You know what I mean? I made an exception for a Yuden Chronicle because, I mean, come on. I'm a Suikoden diehard, right? And I love Mori Murayama, rest in peace. But man, I had to. But nowadays, I'm keeping myself on the fence when it comes to Kickstarters or any new modern game of any kind, Kickstarter or not, mainstream even, AAA, AA, whatever. I'm on the fence. Looking forward for Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. It's not a remake, it's a remaster. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know there's a couple of censored things about it, but apparently it's not that big of a deal. I'll play it, at some point and see how it goes. Oh, thanks again, JA. I owe you an apology. I bought the Wizard of Oz RPG on the DS on eBay and it's terrible. Why did you talk about that game? I don't owe you an apology, man. Every time I've covered that game, I've said that it's not good. It's as if you bought Time and Eternity and come here asking me for an apology. Come on, man. I told you explicitly not to buy that game, not to play it. The Wizard of Oz is not a good game. It isn't terrible, but it's not good. If you bought it and you paid $80, that's on you, man. That's not my problem. Oh, man. I've never played the Hatsune Miku games. I know there's one on the PS3, but yeah, rhythm games. I played some rhythm games, but I'm not a fan. It's usually the music is just not my cup of tea. It's always pop music or some kind of like electronic, either too electronic or techno for me, and then there's the Guitar Hero games. And they have a lot of rock and metal songs, but I'd rather play a real guitar than the guitar thingy, from those games. Just not interested. Nothing against rhythm games, they're just not for me. Considering to get a PS5, which 3 RPGs exclusively for this console would you recommend? I don't know any exclusives, and I can't say the Final Fantasy games because they are about to abandon the exclusivity pretty soon, apparently. So, there's nothing. You know what, Julie? Don't get a PS5 right now. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. Don't get a PS5. Stick to PS4. Yeah, don't get it. Wait for the price to drop considerably, so you can play your PS4 games in there. Like I was saying earlier, the era of exclusivity is gone. It shouldn't exist anymore. And while the PS5 does have a bunch of exclusive games to it that may be worth playing and maybe worth getting a PS5 because of them, when it comes to JRPGs, what else? What's there? Demon Souls, that's a remake of an old PS3 game, so not what I will call exclusive. And then Final Fantasy 16, I don't recommend the game. And then Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, I only played the demo. What else? Yeah. Anyway, what's your opinion on the franchise or the general term of these tamer monster taming-esque RPGs or general games that are out in the open since 2019? I've never been a fan of Monster Hunter, which is pretty much they're responsible for creating that. Or are you talking about Pokemon? Not a fan of Pokemon either, so my opinion isn't negative per se. Okay, I don't hate on these games, I don't trash them or anything, I respect them. And I see what they did to the gaming industry, and there's a lot of fans to them, they're just not for me. Okay, so Monster Rancher, yeah, those games, it's just they're not for me, man. So my opinion is that I respect them, but I tried a bunch of them and I couldn't get into them, couldn't enjoy them. They're not for me. Now, do I think that there's too many? It's something like it should stop? Yes, I do. But nowadays, video games, any sort of entertainment, YouTube videos, movies, shows, even music. It's a repetition of everything. There's barely any originality anymore in the entertainment industry. Everybody wants to copy others, and if like Souls like monster taming games, like Love Letter to the classic 16-bit turn-based RPGs, it's just the same over and over and over and over and over again. So while I'm not against that type of genre, I think there's too many, and I think developers should try something else. We need more developers to take risks like before. This is why video games became such a big deal. Maybe not mainstream like they are nowadays, but such a big deal in the 90s and early 2000s, because, especially RPGs, because there were a lot of developers taking risks. And they still are. There still are a lot of developers taking risks nowadays, but they just get overshadowed by the media, or they get overshadowed by the excessive amount of those types of games, of the Soulsborne games, of the Metroidvanias, by the monster taming or monster hunting games. It's just open world games. Come on. We need to see more originality in the gaming industry. Jennifer or Triss from The Witcher 3? Triss. When I played that game, I went with the city ending because I knew Geralt wasn't going to end up with her, romantically speaking, but I kind of wanted that. I just didn't see Geralt living a peaceful married life with someone. It's just, I don't know, he wasn't that type of character for me. So I went with the city route, which I consider like basically the true ending of the game. So I did that and I loved it. But I did try to romance Jennifer, Triss, and the other girl, the blondie mage, and it was a disaster. And Jennifer and Triss play this little payback with Geralt in a hotel, and that was hilarious, man. I recorded that and showed it in my review of it. But if I had to pick Jennifer or Triss, I'd go with Triss. Jennifer is too much for me. Did you finish Xenoblade 3? Yes, I did, and I reviewed it. I don't know why Vanillaware hates PC. I don't know either. Really, I don't. I don't know why they don't release their games on PC. There's gotta be a reason. If you look it up online, there's gotta be a reason, right? But I don't know that reason. Maybe I should look it up myself one of these days. You already asked about Runa, man, and I said that I barely know anything about it, and I also shared my opinion on modern Kickstarters, so... Thank you, Thad Stallion. He asks, best JRPG character to smoke a fat joint? I don't know, man. I don't even smoke regular cigarettes, man, so I have no idea. Oh, man. People have been saying that this gaming generation is the worst. I kinda agree. What's your opinion? It's pretty gray, There's a lot of really, really bad things about this generation. I just mentioned one of them, that the lack of creativity and originality, especially from the mainstream studios, is one big problem. And yeah, it's definitely the worst. But you'd be surprised to know that what we're experiencing nowadays, also happened in the 80s. With all the Atari, the game crash, and then the success of the NES and the Famicom. It was also back then when a lot of developers started creating the same fucking game. Side-scrollers, platformers, everybody jumped on that same train and developed the same games. I don't know, man. I know a lot of you have a lot of nostalgia for the NES era. And guess what? Me too. I grew up with that era. But from an analytical point of view, I do consider that era as one of the worst in the gaming industry because it was just the same and the same and the same and the same and the same. Eventually we got to the 16-bit era and we started seeing a lot of more originality. Like, okay, another platformer but with this and this that made it different. Or another side-scroller, with this and this. Or another RPG but like this and that, I don't know, there was a lot of creativity back then and it went on until today. I still think that there's a lot of creativity nowadays. I still do. But like I said, most of these original ideas are overshadowed by the mainstream with the games that I mentioned, with their Souls-like, with their open worlds, with their anything, you know, all a copy of a copy of a copy, you know, and all of these games that are in the middle. And indies are a problem too. I love indies, and I've been trying to recommend more and more indies and getting into more and more indies for the past couple of years. But let's face it. Sorry, the music. Let's face it. There's a lot of JRPGs or a lot of games in the middle between getting crushed by indies and mainstream. They are still very original and creative, you know, but just nobody gives a damn about them anymore for some reason. And I've been trying my best to push them forward, you know, to recommend them, like Poison Control. Has anybody here played Poison Control? No, because it didn't get the best reviews, or it barely got any reviews whatsoever, because everybody still focuses on indies and mainstream. So games like Poison Control got crushed, and if you play it, it's a pretty good game. But there's also a lot of it's a pretty original and creative game. There's barely any other action RPGs like it. I can't think of any, you know. And then there's other indie RPGs that are like really original too. Not that original, but original nonetheless. They take ideas from different games, but then add their own twist, like Banner of the Maid. That's a Chinese RPG, strategy RPG, and again, it didn't get the best reviews, or it barely got any reviews, and people ignored it. So you see the problem. So in terms of that, you could say it could be considered as one of the worst generations for gaming, or even JRPGs. But then the other issue is that we got a double-edged sword here. There's a crap ton of them, and JRPGs, for example, have never been more popular. JRPGs weren't this popular back in the day, not even in the 90s. This is a massive worldwide success, the genre, nowadays. But then as a result, that's the good side of it, but the bad side of it is that everybody wants to make an RPG, and everybody wants to talk about them, and everybody wants to review them, and everybody wants to play them, and there's just, like I said in the last stream, there is a lot of offer nowadays, and not that much demand anymore. We talked about this, so I don't want to go back to that topic. So that's another reason why this generation could also be considered as the worst. And on top of it all, the icing on the cake, the politics. Forcing political beliefs, altering localizations, transforming translations, and in forcing video game companies to, with these DEI rules and stuff like that, you know, man, it's never been this bad. There were some politics before, some censorship, you know. Censorship has always been there, but I think we're living the worst era of that when it comes to video games. So there's still a lot of great JRPGs and a lot of great games being released during the past few years. So in that department, I don't think the quality has decreased. You know, we still get a lot of quality. But with these localizations, you know, with this DEI bullshit, and then with the everybody wanting to make the same game, the lack of originality, everything that I just mentioned so far. Yeah, I think I'll give it to you, man. Yes, I'm starting to believe this is the worst generation of gaming ever. Probably worse than the mid 80s, you know. Definitely, it's bad. It's more bad than good. There's a lot of good to be found yet, but it's just more bad things than good ones. So, yeah, it's probably the worst generation of gaming nowadays. Not just gaming, entertainment. Any entertainment whatsoever, you know, it's just ridiculous. Did you get Yakuza 0 to 6? No, I haven't. I will, though, at some point. Do you agree with me that a Eiyuden Chronicle story is pretty generic? No, I don't agree. I don't think it's one of the best stories. It's not like, wow, the story is awesome. No, but I don't think it's generic. No problem, Rulif. It seems like the only one willing to take any risks is Nintendo. Pretty much. I don't know, Vent. You're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a fan of Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, Praetor. Pretty much. He says the lack of creativity is mostly because games are so expensive, investors are unwilling to take risks. Yep, pretty much. That's why you see an endless stream of sequels, remakes, spin-offs, etc. because they're safe. I agree. Oh my god. Well, if I missed your questions, you know the drill. Just ask them again. Hey Hooflong, thanks a bunch, man. Ever consider doing a beginner guide to Persona and SMT mainline games for us folks who hit a wall early and struggle? Okay, you're asking me to do some kind of beginner's guide for Persona and SMT? Persona, I wouldn't do it, to be honest, because it's been overdone. SMT, same, but guess what? I did a video. Sure, my video was kind of focused on Shin Megami Tensei 5, because I did the video right after uploading my review of SMT 5. I don't remember if I uploaded it before or after. But yeah, it's there's a video. You can look it up. Just type SMT for beginners Erick Landon. Type that on a new tab on YouTube and you'll probably find my video. And it's pretty much my video, my guideline, a short guideline to SMT. Hope it helps, you know, so I already did one. And I wouldn't do another one. And I wouldn't do one on Persona because, I don't know, I don't think I have a lot of Persona fans. Or more like, Persona is so damn popular that the fans are all scattered across many JRPG YouTube channels, you know. So, I don't know. And I'm that guy, it's like with Chrono Trigger, right? I'm that guy who doesn't go out there and speaks marvels about Persona 4. So Persona 4 fans, a lot of them hate my guts just because I don't lick the game's balls like they do. It's a great game, but I still prefer 3 and 5. And that's a blasphemy, you know. So over the course of time, I've lost a lot of Persona fans because of that, because of those statements. But yeah, I'm thinking it's more the other one. Like, I don't have a lot of Persona fans, or maybe I do, but they just don't care about me making Persona content. Oh yeah, Kevin, I know that. All the Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy going on right now. Oh my god. He says the inclusion stuff is making people change literal history sources. Yeah, there was a battle in Wikipedia. People are altering a lot of the history of this character Yasuke. You know, that's gonna be the protagonist of Assassin's Creed Shadows, taking place in Japan, a samurai, and he's black. And ooh boy, the world got turned upside down because of it. I have I don't have a strong opinion because I couldn't care less about Assassin's Creed. I played the first 2 games a long time ago on the PS3, and I was like, no, not for me. But yeah, I can clearly see why the big deal is, you know, it's just ridiculous. And these people have been trying to change history, first and foremost by appropriating culture, which is what a lot of, no offense for my racist comment, but that's what Americans do. They tend to do. It's the truth. If you're American, that's the truth of your country, man. You appropriate cultures, other people's and other countries' cultures. And then you alter them. And then you try to change history and rewrite it to your convenience. That's what you people do. Not you specifically, I mean, like the government of your country or the people in power, right? Anyway, I stopped trusting history a long time ago. I'm an agnostic. I am of agnostic beliefs, and I apply those agnostic beliefs to history. I'm like, oh, I can read about this character, or about this person, or about this game, or about this book, blah blah blah, and I'm always take everything with a grain of salt. Like, okay, this is what it says on Wikipedia, but it might not be true. You know, I leave the possibilities open. I do the same with the games. Now that I revived the 10 Things You Didn't Know About series, I've been of the same mentality. Like, I read a lot of things about Valkyria Chronicles on Wikipedia, and I was like, no, I gotta look it up more. I gotta do my research and look up other sources. And that's what I did to confirm some of the things that were said in the Wikipedia article. And I'm about to release a new episode, everybody. 10 things you didn't know about. A new episode coming out in a couple of days. And I did the same. There were a lot of things said in the Wikipedia article, and I was like, And I looked it up at several websites and magazines and articles and interviews, or sometimes even straight out of the horse's mouth from the developers or publishers themselves. And okay, confirmed, it's there. So, anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been doing, not trusting websites like Wikipedia anymore. Because anybody can edit Wikipedia, and of course, thanks to this Assassin's Creed game controversy, it's happening. People are trying to twist their story and just whatever. But nothing changes the intention of Ubisoft. I mean, the DEI, Sweet Baby, those companies were pretty much created by somewhere inside Ubisoft. So they are to blame. Freaking Canada. Just kidding. It's gotten really bad. It's gotten really ridiculous. It's time for you people to make a stand, to reject this openly and publicly. Don't be afraid to be called names. That's what these people do, to try to discredit people, to try to inflict fear on you. And I've seen it happening a lot of times. Like, people are afraid to be called a homophobe or a racist or a sexist or whatever, because they have an opinion. Let them. Those terms mean nothing anymore. They ruin those terms. Because these people, instead of focusing on the real racist problems or the real homophobic problems out there, they attack everybody indiscriminately nowadays for having an opinion or for disagreeing with them. So, and now they're trying to change history. You see? Their terms, the words they call us, are meaningless. Like, you want to say I'm a racist? Go ahead, I don't give a shit. Coming from people like these people means nothing. It's meaningless. Oh, the audio suddenly cracked for anyone? YouTube's listening and is trying to alter what I say? Anyway, so yeah, fuck Assassin's Creed Shadows. Persona 3 Reload, any other Persona besides 5 Royal? What do you mean? You mean like Persona 3 Reload is the worst Persona game ever? Mexico is America too. You're right. In Mexico and the entirety of Latin America, they teach us at school that America is one continent. They don't teach you that in the US or in Europe. They teach you in school and in history books that these are two continents, North America and South America. But in Latin America, Mexico and below, they teach everyone that America is just one continent. Just saying. What is your opinion that today's modern games are now priced at $70? It's insane. I know they cost more to do, and I know inflation and blah blah blah, but it's because it's thanks to the inflation that a lot of people are not buying games at launch anymore because they're too expensive and they can't afford them anymore. So I think companies should do something about that and try to balance a little bit more, maybe decrease the price a bit more, because this inflation just seems like it's never going to end. Do you think VR, AR will move the gaming industry in a positive sense? No, I don't think so. Well, it's gonna be like everything, right? It's gonna have a lot of good things and a lot of bad things, like everything nowadays, like all the entertainment business, like all the technological business nowadays. Full of ups and downs, big ups and downs. Do you think there are games that got affected by a liberal agenda but still had great mechanics and battle system? Eiyuden Chronicle is a perfect example of that. It got affected by the liberal agenda. Yes, it did, but it still has great mechanics and battle system. Eiyuden Chronicle. Persona 3 Reload is another one. What do you think about the Eiyuden Chronicle experience? Speaking about the Eiyuden Chronicle, I made a review on it. You should check it out. Will you do a video on what Square Enix did to Cid in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? I have no idea what they did to Cid. Care to enlighten me? What did they do to Cid? Mexico is North America, right? Politically speaking, yes. Do you think the PS5 is worth it since most JRPGs comes to PS? No, I was just answering to someone else. Julie was her name. Don't get a PS5 now. It's still very freaking expensive. Barely any exclusives. There's just no reason to buy one. I think my biggest problem with the PS5 is still the price. That's it. If it was a $200-300 console, I will be recommending the heck out of it because I own one and it's freaking amazing. It's a great console. But nothing justifies the preposterous price it currently and still has after 3.5 years. Hopefully the PS5 Pro or whatever will come out soon, and then the vanilla PS5 will come down to that amount, $200-300, and maybe I'll recommend it. What do they teach you? Alright, that's right, Hooflong. If governments will stop spending money, they wouldn't decrease the value of their money, then inflation will eventually stop. Inflation and the devaluing of currency is something extremely complex and extremely complex. I've talked about this issue with my dad, with different people, and they all have like different opinions and different sources of information, and there are people that are experts. I have a cousin who's pretty much an expert in these things, and he says one thing, then another expert says something else. You never quite. There's just a lot of things affecting an inflation and affecting the devaluing of a certain country's currency. It's just really hard. It's a really complicated and gray area. It's really weird. J.K. Rowling. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Harry Potter, to be honest. I've never been. I watched one movie and I was like, Played one game and I was like, nope. And the Harry Potter movie that I watched was the one directed by Alfonso Cuarón, which was kind of dark. And at the beginning was pretty good, but then like 40 minutes later I was falling asleep. And I've never read the books. And I don't even know how J.K. Rowling looks like. I don't even know what J.K. stands for. What's her real name? I don't know. But yeah, I agree with that. Do you have an opinion on science and biology? Oh no, you're a transphobic now. You see, yeah, let those people call you names, man. And then they killed their own terms. They used them to attack you and to inflict fear on you. They're meaningless. Meaning everybody is a racist. Even them. There's even a lot of people calling them racist because they hate white people, and straight people. They are heterophobic. Oh, it's gotten ridiculous, man, up to the point where it's almost laughable. Let them, man. Oh yeah, racist. Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Whatever you say. Whatever floats your boat. What was the last game you couldn't put down? Mine was Nier Automata. Okay, so let me retrospect him, okay. The last game that I was playing was Potion Permit. I ditched it, got 21 hours into it, and I don't know, I got tired of it. And then, what was before that? Mato Anomalies. No, Mato Anomalies, I love the game, but it isn't a game where I will say I couldn't put the controller down. No. Before that, it was Yakuza Infinite Wealth. That one. That was the last game that I played where I couldn't put the controller down. Yeah. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It's that good. Sure, it's full of really weird political duality in there. Some correctness here, some incorrectness here and there. It's kind of weird, but gameplay-wise and the characters and the fan service, the music, the battle mechanics, it's a blast. It's a blast, man. So Infinite Wealth was that game for me. I couldn't put the controller down. It was that good. Before that, it was a Plague Tale Requiem. And then, no, I was playing something. Oh, Eiyuden Chronicle. Eiyuden Chronicle, I couldn't put the controller down once they fixed the recruitment issues it got when it got released. And yeah, Eiyuden Chronicle is another one that I couldn't put the controller down. Persona 3 Reload, same. Sid is a total different character in Rebirth. They even took away his smokes, his cigarettes. Okay, how different. What mechanics do you want to see more in JRPGs? I'd like to see less random encounters. Anyway, I'd like to see more often the classic quality of life features like fast travel, and if the game has random encounters, the ability to turn them off. Or I'd like less political bullshit. I think the question is like more about what mechanics do I want to see less. I want, going back to the originality and creatively drama that I was talking about earlier, about like 20 minutes ago. I think it's more about I would like to see more originality, more creativity, and not just the same. I would like to see less Souls-like games, Souls-like influence in RPGs. Less open world influence, less convoluted skilled equipment systems. Like I just finished Tales of Berseria for the second time, and I know it's pretty much a 7-year-old game, but I fucking hate the equipment system in there, and I hated the equipment system also in Tales of Arise. So equipment systems like that, I'd like to see more regular equipment systems, classic, traditional. I mean, you can make the battle system complicated or creative or whatever, but it's just the equipment system in JRPGs has no reason to be complex or convoluted or full of fucking penalties. I mean, why can't I just have a regular equipment system? Like, go to the next store, buy the next weapon and armor, and that's it. Leave the complicated stuff for the accessories, right? And skill trees, I have no problem if they are a bit complicated, just not too much, as long as they're easy to understand. Or, yeah, they aren't too hard to understand. Or I don't want an RPG whose difficulty is based on skill trees. Like, okay, the game isn't like Rogue Galaxy, for example. Well, Rogue Galaxy was more about the weapon creation system. But yeah, like games that are like, oh, you're sucking at the game, and it's become such a difficult game because your skill tree is wrong. Or, I mean, that's like, really? Come on. And save anywhere, that's another feature that I like. I love save points. And I play a lot of JRPGs. Again, Berseria has a lot of save points. Oh, there's also a lot of backtracking, which is why the fast travel feature was better. There were always a lot of scenes that were in the middle of the area, so the game kind of forced you to backtrack, and that I think that's bad game design. So yeah, save anywhere, that's a good feature. When it comes to mechanics, like yeah, my biggest gripe nowadays is with equipment systems and skill tree systems. They try to be more creative in that when they should be more creative in battle mechanics and storytelling. I think that's what they should focus more on. Like, stop copying the successful RPGs, just take a risk. But like I said, nobody wants to take a risk because everybody wants to go the safer route. So, in conclusion, I'd like to see more. Well, in my opinion, every single RPG nowadays, most of them have it. But I'd like to see more difficulty settings. Like, if the game's too easy on normal mode, so we can play on hard. Or if it's too hard, just go too easy, go back to easy, something like that. I'd like to see more strategy RPGs. Grid-based or real-time. Grid-based like Fire Emblem, but with better storytelling. Or real-time like Unicorn, Overlord, Grow Lancer, those games. The Dio Field Chronicle. I'd like to see more strategy RPGs. I'd like to see This isn't just a mechanic, you know, it's just a whole genre should come back nowadays. That's what I would love to see more tactical RPGs. I want a new Valkyria Chronicles game. What's going on there, Sega? I don't know. There's a crap ton of turn-based RPGs, but still you see a lot of people saying that turn-based is dead, even nowadays, even though it's been proven that it's just not dead, you know, but as a result, I'd love to see more mainstream turn-based RPGs. I know Final Fantasy is never going to go back in that, you know, but other companies, you know, but it's okay. What else? Yeah, I think I've exhausted my options. What do you think about power scaling? By power scaling, I'm referring to the discussions involving the power level, speed, durability, skills, and powers of fictional characters. Didn't we talk about that like a couple of months ago? And I misunderstood a question someone asked. Maybe you asked the question and I didn't understand it. Something about power scaling in the Shin Megami Tensei, right? Was that you? By power scaling, do you mean, for example, Suikoden 5 has one of the main characters in Suikoden 5 is George. And he's overpowered since the beginning. Everybody else is normal. But George is over-leveled and overpowered. Okay? You talking about that? Yes, it was you. Okay. Just waiting on him to clarify because I find it very interesting. I want to talk about this. Or you're asking about, you know, overpowering your characters at an early stage of the game. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to answer another question while I wait. Do you feel like having 40 plus playable characters in an RPG isn't too overwhelming versus having 4 to 8 party members? Depends on the game, to be honest, but I've always been a fan of JRPGs with tons of characters. I mean, what are my 2 favorite JRPG series of all time? Suikoden and Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, the old Fire Emblem. And they have tons of characters. Some of my all-time favorite games have tons of characters. Eternal Poison, for example. The Grow Lancer series, not that much, but yeah. What else? The Trail series. So, as you can see, I prefer games with more characters. But it also depends on the game. There's been, like, for example, take the East series or the Tales series. I wouldn't want either of those franchises to have like 30, 40 party members, you know, there's just no reason to. No thanks. You know, so it's not for every game. It depends on the game. And I like the fact that because it depends on the game, you know, I think some of these games should stick to that. Instead of reducing the amount of party members. So it depends on the game, you know, not every game, not every RPG benefits from having a crap ton of party members. It's not like it should be applied to everything. Thank you very much, Time Game. Thanks a bunch, man. So, Luis, I asked about the power levels of the characters, but not related to the in-game levels, but from fan-made levels like wall level, multi-city block level, planet level. Oh, man, I have no opinion on that because I just don't give a damn about fan-made power-scaling characters, you know. I don't play on PC after all. I play my games on consoles. Nobody can do that on consoles. You're pretty much talking about mods and hacks and ROM hacks, you know. I barely play those, so unfortunately I have no opinion. In power scaling is basically could X from game Y beat the Demi-Fiend from SM3 in a fight? Well, that's something different. This power scaling topic, man, is making me scratch my head. There's something appealing to it that I don't know. I want to get into the topic, but I'm not sure what you guys are trying to ask. Like, for example, what Praetor is saying, you know, like, for example, could Raymond from Star Ocean 6 beat Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles, you know, stuff like that? And I don't know, I've never thought about that, you know. Could the Demi-Fiend defeat Ozma from Final Fantasy IX, stuff like that, you know? Well, come on. I know it's fun, I see the appeal, and well, a lot of people will argue about that, but that's just extreme fanboyism. A whole new level of fanboyism, man. Of nerdiness, no offense. I'm more interested about having two games compete, and I've done this several times. There's usually a question about that in these Q&As, and I turn them into topics for my second channel. Maybe I should do the same for my main channel, but in actual videos with a script. Like having two games compete against each other. Like, I remember some time ago someone asked, East 8 versus East 9, you know, and my review of East 9 was pretty much based on that. But having like this character, could this character beat this character? I don't think it's dumb, but it's just, no. Anyway, so Project Cross Zone was a great round-based strategical fighting RPG series. I agree with that. I am a die-hard fan of those games, and I am devastated that the series is done. It's dead, it's over, it's never coming back. Yeah. Since Chrono Cross is one of your favorite RPGs, it's my favorite JRPG of all time. What do you think made that game such a special JRPG for you? Oh man, you know, I made a video called... First and foremost, I made a podcast. Listen to the podcast. Sure, it's an hour and a half long. If you have the time, listen to my podcast released 2 or 3 weeks, no, like last month. Check it out. But if it's too long and you're too lazy, I made a video like 4 years ago, yeah, called How Chrono Cross Broke My Heart and Changed My Life. Check that video out, and you understand why that game is so special to me. So, do you get paid when YouTube shows commercials during your lives? Yeah, I do, but I get like, I will need to have like thousands of people watching me right now, so it will get, the ads work that way, you know, the more people, the more views you have, the more people watching you have, the better, the more money they pay you. Right now I have 100 people, so it's not gonna be much. I probably get paid just a few cents per every ad that shows up, but it helps. Are you guys getting a lot of ads? Hopefully you aren't. Grow Lancer has a good amount of characters. Depends on the game. 3, for example, there's only 6 characters. 2 has 10. Including the optional ones, right? 5 also has like, they have a good amount, but not in Fire Emblem levels. How much time does the stream is right now? What? I've been live for an hour. It should show up there when you click on it. It should say started streaming. Stream started like an hour ago, something like that, right? Yeah. A power scaling is basically analyzing feats, powers to decide if two fictional characters fought. Okay, that is what I was referring to. Okay, then sorry, I already answered that question and not interested in power scaling. What is the oldest RPG you beat? Oldest release date? Okay. I think the oldest of the oldest RPGs I've ever beaten in my life was... You know, I've never beaten a single NES RPG in my life. I've played most of them, but I never beat a single one of them. Master System, same. How about Genesis? I think I'm gonna choose Shining Force, maybe? Came out in 1993. Yeah. Breath of Fire, no, that was 95. Shining Force. Have you heard of Mark of the Mermaid? Well, that sounds fun. It's a Japanese-only Lovecraftian strategy RPG for the PS1. No, I've never heard of it, but that sounds cool. Mark of the Mermaid. Oh my god. There's a whole YouTube channel built around that called Death Battle. Yeah, I know that. I've seen a couple of videos in the past, and yeah, I like their thumbnails, you know. pretty cool. Hey, Skycatcher! Are there any games where you can go back and select and play any chapter at the end? Nier Automata, Plague Tale 1 and 2. Not many, you know, most of them are like you beat the game and you're fucked, you need to start over. Or you can continue from your last save file, the save point, you know. Most video games are like that, especially RPGs. Hard to think of some, you know, but yeah, Nier Automata and Plague Tale 1 and 2. There's gotta be more, maybe somebody can mention some. Because I'd like to know too. Oh man, this theme. Oh, the best, shortest music themes in video games ever. Do you recommend Tales of Arise? Yes, I do. Have you ever played Uncharted Waters New Horizons on the SNES Genesis? If so, what do you think of the game? Yes, I did play it. Didn't finish it because it wasn't my cup of tea. All the simulation of the commerce simulation wasn't that appealing to me. I'll be honest, the one thing that I wanted to get into was the battle system, and when I got to the battle system was like kind of convoluted and I didn't know what I was doing. It's such a unique combat, you know, and it has some kind of duel system when you face some of the commanders. It's a pretty unique game, pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it's my cup of tea, which is why I rarely talk about it, but it's a good game, it's a pretty original game. There's barely anything like it, and that's a 16-bit era video game. And the first game came out on the NES, I think in 1991 or something. It's not that great of a game. The New Horizons is much better. But yeah, I mean, it's a good game. Do you have something like Tales of Grace SF? Do I have something like Tales of Grace SF? What are you trying to ask? Like, do I recommend an action RPG that's just the stuff? Do you think there will be a Valkyria Chronicles 5? I hope so. But it's Sega. And if, yeah, it's gonna be with DEI. Unfortunately. Greetings from the Wogeland, Germany. Germany is the Wogeland? I thought that was the USA. I'm pretty sure it's the USA. The true Wogeland. Anyway, yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 5, I want it. I'm dying for it. I want it so much that it's probably gonna be ruined by the wokies. If I was a YouTuber, I'll make a video. How Trails in the Sky first and second chapter changed my life. Oh man, that's awesome. Stella Glow. That's a fun strategy RPG. It's got a lot of fans for some reason. Your oldest beaten RPG is Fire Emblem 4? Yeah, I beat that too, the fan-translated version. But that was later. I think that game came out in 1996 or 7. So my oldest is still Shining Force. What JRPG has some of your favorite stories? I also made that video. That video is crazy old. It's like 2017, I think. Really old video. The best JRPG stories, and you'll find my favorites in there. It didn't... if I were to remake that video, I will probably include most of the same. The list wouldn't be too different, you know. So check that video out. Best JRPG stories in JRPGs, according to yours truly. What do you feel if Falcom remakes Gaga trilogy on... Okay. Nah. I'd rather have Falcom focusing on the Trails in the Sky trilogy. Like the Gagar trilogy remakes on modern consoles, I mean, the games are okay at best. It's like Legend of Legacy, man. Like, nobody needed that remake or that remaster. It's a remaster. Nobody needed that remaster. It was like, oh, thanks for remastering Miss America, thank you, but it wasn't a great game to start with. It's not bad, it's still good, but it's like the Gagar trilogy. They're okay at best. I wouldn't bother remastering or remaking those games. I will focus 100% in Trails in the freaking Sky. Are you interested in making your own game? I've always been interested in making my own game, but I fucking suck at everything except music and writing. That's all I can do. Drawing characters? No. Drawing backgrounds? No. 3D modeling? No. Programming? No. And don't throw RPG Maker at me, I still suck at it. Okay, I have no patience, no discipline for that, no talent whatsoever. All I can do is write a story, develop characters, and maybe play some music. That's it. You can't make a game with just that, though. Yeah, but I've always been interested in making my own video game. Always. It's my one dream that I would like to fulfill. Well, I guess my dream will be to be a successful author and make a living out of my books. But my second dream is making an RPG. At least writing the story for one, right? What is the second-hand market like for video games in Mexico? Well, you got a lot of stores, but they're all like centered in the city downtown. You come to... I can only talk about my city where I live in Guadalajara, one of the 3 biggest cities in the country. So 9 out of 10 video game stores. Second-hand market, for example. I'm assuming you're asking about video games, right? Second-hand market, there's a crap ton of them everywhere. But second-hand market, when it comes to video games, you will barely find any stores around. Most of them are downtown, in the city center. You know, the large majority of them are concentrated in there. It shouldn't be that way, but the main reason is because most people still buy video games either online or on flea markets. And flea markets are still a huge thing here in Mexico. So the second-hand market is pretty much dominated by flea markets here in where I live. But I haven't gone to one in ages. Something flashy and mechanical like Tales of Grace SF. Play Berseria on normal mode. I just beat it on normal mode and oh my fucking god. Yeah. The first half of the game's gonna be easy as hell, the second half gonna get hard, man. Yeah, Trace in the Sky got ports on PS3 and PS Vita, but only in Japan. Why would I do a Kickstarter? I will need to hire programmers and I'm not sure I can be a good boss. I'd rather work with someone else instead of having people work for me or me working for them. I'd like to be in some kind of collaborative effort to create a video game. But I am pretty bad at following orders, being an employee, but I'm also pretty bad at being a boss and giving orders, so that wouldn't work. You should build a small team to make a game. There's no time for that. Oh, I should make a Kickstarter to pay them? Like fund my game so I can use the money to pay the employees? No. I don't know, man. If you make your own game, will you title it Landon Quest Woke Land Massacre? I will definitely criticize modern politics. Definitely. I'm about to do that in my upcoming book. No release date for my book yet. I'm just in pre-production of it. Okay, but yeah. But nah, I wouldn't call it that way. That's just a dumb name. Nobody will take it seriously. Have you watched DSP The Worst Game Ever? No. What does DSP stand for? Erick the Next Kojima? No. Not really a fan of Kojima. I respect the guy, but I'm just not a fan of his games. Some of his RPGs are good, but he was barely involved. He was probably just the executive producer in those, and that's it. Didn't develop them. But Metal Gear, you know, and Death Stranding, and no, not a fan of those games. Imagine if Erick is a protagonist and the enemies he faces are Twitter users. More like Reddit users. DSP stands for Dark Side Feel. No freaking clue what that is, man. The bosses in the RPG are all corporate overlords. Pretty much. Kojima's writing is trash? I wouldn't say that, man, but... Do you think Falcom will do a remake remaster of the Trails in the Sky games like they did with Trails of Zero Asher and Nayuta? If they have the source code for the games, which apparently they don't, they haven't said anything, but there are rumors that they lost the source code for those games, and that's why we haven't seen anything. But they should definitely do that. Hopefully they will. Please, Falcom. Oh boy, you didn't finish a Yuden Chronicle, did you? He says that just in principle every Kickstarter game I've seen has these stretch goals and the thank yous to 1 million people in the credits. Oh, a Yuden Chronicle was like 25 minutes of credits just showing the names of every single human being or bot even that participated in the Kickstarter. Damn, that was hardcore, man. I was like, oh my god. Oh, you did finish it. Oh my god, yeah. So you went through that too, huh? I've never seen that. I've played some Kickstarted games in the past, but no, oh man, the amount of credits was like 5 minutes later, it's still showing up. And now by countries. All the people from this country, this other country, this other, and every single country in the world. And it went on and on for like half an hour. It was just insane, man. They could have just picked, you know, the highest backers, the guys that paid a lot of money, you know, and then the rest, thank you. And that's it. Thank you to everybody who participated, who backed this game. Thanks. If you have a chance to work in video game companies, what will you choose? None. No, fucking destroy, getting wrecked by DEI and modern politics, so I wouldn't work for any fucking company there. I did play Zone of the Enders, The Feast of Mars on the Game Boy Advance. I didn't like it. It isn't bad, but it isn't great either. It's just there. It's another game inspired by Super Robot Wars. And the battle mechanic had this little twist to it that whenever you attack an enemy, you go into first-person mode and try to hit that enemy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of ruins the experience, you know. Yeah, I don't recommend that game. It's not bad, but it's just nope. It's a mediocre game, in my opinion. What new content would you add to Final Fantasy VI Remake? None. I will leave it intact, and I will remake it in the with an HD 2D graphic style. Sorry about the music. I wouldn't add anything. Maybe okay. I will add maybe, but no. This will be like adding more story. I wouldn't know. I think I will add more interaction between the characters. That was my one and only complaint with Final Fantasy VI. That the character development for some of them didn't feel that important, and the dialogue and interactions between them and the bonding and the relationship between some of these characters was kind of hollow after a while. So I will focus on that and add more content, but that's what I will do. I will be respectful and faithful to the original material, right? That's what I will do, but I wouldn't add anything else. Maybe just some more minigames to please completionists. Or I will remove random encounters. Even if the game was redone in HD 2D graphics, do the same Star Ocean 2 did. Make the enemies visible and give the player the option to fight them if they want to or not. I will do that. But yeah, like more content? No, the game's perfect. It doesn't need more content. Well, I've never beaten Final Fantasy 15, and I have no plans on ever doing that, so I don't think I'll ever watch the credits. I saw a video where you mentioned Black Rock Shooter for the PSP. Do you think I need to read Japanese for that one? Is the story that important? Dude, that game is in English. What the hell? And if you watched a video where I mentioned it, you should have seen the gameplay footage. It's in English. Is the main company Nihon or Falcom? It's Nihon Falcom. It's just everybody says Falcom for short, but it's the company's name is Nihon Falcom. It's one company. That's their real complete name. No, nothing happened. Nihon Falcom has been called Nihon Falcom since the 80s, since its inception. Any JRPG character archetype, personality, or battle-wise you can't stand? Yeah, I've answered this question before. I hate lolis. To be honest, and I hate idol characters or characters that resemble idol behavior or idol culture. I hate those. So there you go. Narcissistic characters like Kuja in Final Fantasy IX, for example, I don't like them. Final Fantasy VI did get a Game Boy Advance release. Are you interested to play Sandland? I remembered you didn't like the demo version that much. No. I'll play it, I'll get it once the price drops considerably. But by playing the demo, it was crystal clear to me that it just wasn't my type of game. It's good, I liked what I played, but not enough to make me buy it or get it. I'm just not a fan of open world games, and that game seemed like very overwhelming to me. Just the demo at least. Maybe if I can focus on the game story, I can come to appreciate it one day. But we're just gonna have to wait and see until I get my hands on it. But it's not like I'm, oh, I can't wait to get my hands on Sandland. No, I don't have a lot of interest in the game. But I'm not going to reject it, Or like, I'd like to play it. I'd love to play it? No. I'd like to play it. And that's it. Just to have an opinion and talk about it on my channel. But I can spend the rest of my life without playing it and I wouldn't regret it. I didn't mean cute little girls. I mean lolis, like the annoying ones. Like the ones are always, they have these loud voices, and they're acting ridiculous, like, oh man. I hate those types, like the actual lolis. Well, the ones that are like normal or quiet, well, I have no problem with them. No, I'm pretty sure Black Rock Shooter got a physical release in North America. Pretty damn sure. Who is Sasami? I don't know who that is. I'm gonna make a poll. There we go. How would you like a Final Fantasy VI remake? To be in HD 2D, like Octopath Traveler? Or like Final Fantasy VII remake? Huh. Wow, everybody's voting HD 2D. Wow, someone voted a Final Fantasy VII remake. Oh man. I don't think this is gonna be too much of a battle. Then maybe I should change the question to Final Fantasy IX. What, with all the rumors going on? Did you enjoy the combat system in Legend of Dragoon? Yes, I did. For its time, it was something different. Nowadays, it would be like, oh, it's just turn-based with, you gotta click the button at the right time to do more damage. It's nothing special, right? But back then, it was special. It was pretty good. I liked it. I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of timing, you know, when it comes to Legend of Dragoon. If I had to time my attacks, you know, it was a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes. And it made the game harder for me, unfortunately. But it wasn't that hard. It never got, like, that ridiculous. And if I hit a difficulty spike, I just grinded. Final boss was freaking bullshit. But I did manage to beat it my second time. I think I fought against the final boss, which has like 4 stages, 4 transformations. And the first time I died at transformation 2 or 3. Then I grinded, and then I beat the crap out of the boss, right? But yeah, I wasn't the best when it comes to timing the attacks. You know, and I didn't love that feature, but I didn't hate it. And I found myself enjoying it more than disliking it. I liked the battle system in The Legend of Dragoon, but back then it was special, but it wasn't that special. Because when I played it, I had already played others that were like kind of similar battle mechanics. So I did get to appreciate Legend of Dragoon. When I played it, the PS3 didn't even exist, I think. So there you go. It's a good game. I think it's a good battle system. Simple, yet engaging. Like, nothing convoluted. Anybody can understand it. Anybody can play it and enjoy it. And even if you don't get a lot of penalties if you miss. If you don't click the button at the right time, the game doesn't punish you. You know? So, it's a good combat. I like the battle system. Is the PSX library aged worse for you, or is the PS2 still your champion of RPGs? The PS2 is still my champion. The PSX library, some aged poorly, that's true, others aged okay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure in a few years the PS2 RPG library is going to start showing its age as well. Definitely. Some PS2 games, I know for a fact they didn't age very well. Suikoden 3, for example. I wouldn't say it aged poorly, but it didn't age greatly either. There are some annoying things about Suikoden 3 that just, no. That's too freaking loud. Damn, man. You liked playing shitty JRPGs? Lagoon? Phantasy Star 3, I don't know, man. I don't think it's a shitty game. But it's definitely not one of the best in the series. Lagoon is bad. It's bad. Should do another one of those soon. Worst JRPGs ever. What do you think about the Phantasy Star 4 remake in the style of Phantasy Star Online 2? No. Phantasy Star 4 remake should be like Final Fantasy 6, in my opinion, like HD 2D or something like that. Like in the style of Phantasy Star Online 2, no way, man. I mean, Phantasy Star Online 2, I haven't played it. It looks awesome, but I just don't see the reason why. The game's freaking beautiful. It aged perfectly well, by the way. HD 2D. That's what I will do for Phantasy Star 4. That's what I will do for a lot of Super Nintendo games. Suikoden 5 is love. It definitely is. Tomb Raider aged horribly, you're right. I'll be completely honest, when I first played Tomb Raider, the game had been out for a few years already, and I thought, even back then, in the late 90s, I thought like, no, why is it like this? The controls are off, the shooting is bad, there's no music. I never saw the big deal of Tomb Raider. All I saw were tits. That was my justification. I was like, people like this game because Lara Croft has tits. Call me sexist if you want to, but I just thought gameplay-wise the controls were awful. And the shooting was awful, and I never understood what people saw in Tomb Raider other than Lara Croft herself. That's it. I did play the games, and I was like, no, why do people love this? Tomb Raider, yeah. I have a controversial opinion about it. check out the poll, man. It's not that much in favor of HD 2D. Some people like it. Some people want the Final Fantasy. You just want the remake to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, so you can see Terra and Celeste in their full glory. Trust me, they will be censored. And they wouldn't be censored in HD 2 graphical style. So change your vote right now. If it wasn't like in the style of Final Fantasy VII Remake, they will be censored. Trust me. Terra's skirt will be longer. She will be flat. Celeste wouldn't wear that swimsuit type of outfit that she wears at the beginning. Yeah. You want that? You want Final Fantasy VI censored? Anyway, what games are you looking forward to coming out? Trails Through Daybreak is 10. That's it. I hated Final Fantasy 16. I don't hate it, more like I don't want to talk about that game. Final Fantasy VII Remake with turn-based combat? Really? It should have been that way from the start, though. Oh, you're saying you want Final Fantasy VI Remake in the style of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but with turn-based combat? That's what you're saying? I'd love to see Terra and Celeste in their full 3D glory with modern graphics, but they will probably get censored. You know, even with the censorship, Tifa was pretty entertaining to watch. My complaints aren't that big. Which Final Fantasy do I think has the best soundtrack? In your personal opinion, 8 and 9? Actually, I agree. 9 is my favorite in the series. I'm a diehard Final Fantasy 9, as you guys know that already. I won't talk too much about the game because you're probably tired of seeing me. Now, when it comes to music, I think 9 is my favorite. I like 6, 7, and 8 a hell of a lot too. But I'm sticking with 9. 9 is my favorite soundtrack. Which one? Yeah, it's the best soundtrack in my opinion. And Nobuo Uematsu agrees. The composer himself agrees. Make a proper FF7 remake. Yeah. They make Lara Croft distance herself from tomb raiding because it is colonialist behavior and disrespectful to other cultures. Everything nowadays is disrespectful and offensive. Everything. You know, The Legend of Legacy is a good game. I was just talking about it and I made a review about it. Check it out. It's good. You want Final Fantasy VII Remake without the action fighting we now have. Not gonna happen. I know you're not kidding about Lara Croft. I know that. Jesse won you over? I think the playlist is repeating. Oh, it's because it isn't shuffling. Right? Maybe I just picked a lot of songs that only last for like a minute. Anyway. Turn-based players. I'm a JRPG player myself. What's a new game that you like? Good question, right? Despite the localization, Eiyuden Chronicle, Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload. What else new have I played recently? New. That's... I mean, Unicorn Overlord. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, I liked it. Those are the only new RPGs I played this year. Everything else is from like at least 1 year old. like Mato anomalies. Well, yeah, that's my answer. Final Fantasy V has one of the best boss themed battles in the Big Bridge. Haven't really listened to it. Maybe I will. I never beat Final Fantasy V. Never. And I didn't get that far either. I probably did like 10 hours max. It just got to a point where it was so repetitive. And it was just starting to focus more and more on the job system. And I'm not a fan of job systems, so I kind of ditched the game. Final Fantasy V is a good game. I think it's a bit underrated. But it's not one of my favorites in the series. Haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake. Should I play the original first or the remakes? They're very different games. Very different. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is more of a reboot than anything else. So yeah, you should play the original first, in my opinion. It's the better game, I think. It didn't age very well. Try to play the remasters. They aren't the best remasters. They have some problems, you know, but you're gonna have yourself some quality of life features, you know, in the remastered version of Final Fantasy VII, the original version. So play that one first and then jump into the remakes. Yeah. Have you heard of a fan-made remake of the first Dragon Quest called Dragon Quest Plus? Nope. Me too, my biggest... strategy RPGs are my biggest. My favorite genre. When it comes to RPGs. Wow, the poll, I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised. I thought HD2D would win by a landslide, but no. 60-40. You guys are still going on about Lara Croft? Phoebe Waller-Bridge that ruined Indiana Jones 5. I don't know anything about that, but fucker. What's up, Michael? Definitely looping this playlist. There we go. I'll probably finish it when it reaches 100 votes. 100 votes. I don't think it's gonna get there. Maybe I'll do the Final Fantasy IX one next Sunday. Final Fantasy VI should be remade in the concept art style. You mean with the art by Yoshitaka Amano? Kind of like Cartia, right? Maybe. I still would love... I want my HD2D remake. Do you think Trails in the Sky with Octopath Visual Engine will be the best choice for a remake? No. I don't think the characters in Trails in the Sky are pixels, you know. I'm not sure if they will make a good transition to HD2D. Or maybe they will, like in the Eiyuden Chronicle style. Eiyuden Chronicle is not a remake or anything, but it has this kinda similar HD2D style of graphics. I think that's a better idea. Like Trails in the Sky in Octopath Traveler style? No. No. More like in the Eiyuden Chronicle style. But I don't know why I feel like Trails in the Sky should be remade. If it's going to be remade, not remastered, remade, I would like to see it in the Trails into Reverie style of graphics. Like big 3D models and stuff like that. Yeah. I'll take anything from that game at this point. What is your... Thank you, Jeer. What is your favorite indie JRPG of 2023 or 2024? I don't know, man. some of the indies I've played aren't Japanese, they're Chinese or from somewhere else. And I think the ones that I played recently and last year aren't from these 2 years. Like, I don't know when Banner of the Maid came out. I think Banner of the Maid came out in 2022? Maybe? But that's probably the best one. Matto Anomalies came out last year, I believe, in 2023. So, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. No, it's a great indie game though. But I think I like Banner of the Maid a bit more. I haven't played Sea of Stars or just the demo or Chained Echoes. You know, the big guns. Haven't played them. Can I pick Banner of the Maid? I just don't think it came out in the last 2 years. This and the last one. I think it's a 2022 game. But that will be my pick. I think it's the best indie RPG I've played in the last few years. It's up there. I mean, others are Fallen Legion, Rise Eterna, pretty good game too. Pretty short. Astria Ascending, even though it was a bit of a big deal. Yeah. Definitely Banner of the Maid. Do you have any ideas about making money through books? No, I don't. If I did, my problems will be solved. Does anybody have any ideas? I want an HD 2D Illusion of Gaia really bad. Ooh, that would be bonkers, man. Yeah. Illusion of any Quintet game. Terranigma, Soul Blazer, HD 2D. Fuck, man. Yeah, I want that too now. I want a lot of Super Nintendo RPGs to be remade in HD 2D. Like Star Ocean the Second Story did, even though that's a PS1 game. Atelier Ryza music? Yeah. That's right. I didn't play Lies of Pi, but Stellar Blade I played the demo in. Yeah, it's a good Korean game. Did you play Eternights? No, I didn't. It came out last year, didn't it? I didn't play, I missed it. Didn't play the game. Octopad Engine is Unreal Engine, right? Yeah, but the graphical style, it's HD 2D. It's known as HD 2D. You want a Faxanadu remake on Switch? Maybe me too, I don't like that game on the NES. I do not like it, but a remake, that would be interesting. That game was published by Falcom. I don't think they developed it, but Falcom was involved in that game. And, well, maybe they did, I don't remember. Anyway, I don't like that game. Lufia and Lufia 2 remakes in HD 2D. Yes. Yes, please. Yes, especially the first one. Because the second one is almost a masterpiece. I mean, it's an excellent game. It aged perfectly well, but the first one is full of major problems. If they're going to remake it, they better fix those problems first. And a remake will fix them, right? We need a Tokyo Xanadu 2? Okay. I don't think I do, but if you say you do, good for you. Tell Falcom that. I never beat Tokyo Xanadu. I made it pretty far. I never beat it. Got tired of the idol bullshit shenanigans, and I was like, no. The story ruined it for me. I should make at least 10 JRPGs where the story ruined it for me. Ruined by the story. Well, actually, I did a video called 10 JRPGs with bad story and great. I already did the video. You ever play Destiny of an Emperor? No, I haven't. I know the game. I know it's kind of influential. I know some of the Suikoden mechanics are influenced by that game, but I haven't played it. One of these days. Chrono Trigger HD 2D? Absolutely. Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2? Never, no. Wasn't Tokyo Xanadu announced a while back, or was it just a rumor? I don't remember. There was something about it, but no. More like it was released on Switch. It wasn't on Switch, and it got released on Switch. Something like that. My favorite game of all time is Xenogears. But I don't think I even want the remake. I think it's perfect the way it is, and they definitely won't want to let the story go again now the way it is. I do want the Xenogears remake, but it's gonna be ruined by Square Enix. They're probably gonna turn into an action RPG, censored and political. So I think Square Enix doesn't want to do anything with Xenogears because it's a game that's kind of politically incorrect, and it will be considered as offensive nowadays. That's the reason why Square Enix is purposely ignoring Xenogears. Unfortunately. Did Falcom ever release a game on Xbox? Good question. Yes, some of the Ys games are there, right? Ys Origin isn't there. There we go. There are Falcom RPGs on Xbox. Ys Origin is on Xbox One. Pretty sure. You were one chapter away from a Tokyo Xanadu's best part. What was the best part? The idol bullshit? Saving the singers? Come on, I quit that in that part, man. I was like, man, no. Thinking of playing Tales of Berseria, but I heard it's quite hard. Do you think normal difficulty is a good difficulty for that game? I just beat the game live, and I recommend playing it on easy. Normal, I was ranting half of the streams. Half of my streams were nothing but rants about the battle mechanics. I love it, and I love playing it on normal. It was quite the challenge, especially if you get into the dangerous encounters to get more experience. Yeah, but if you're gonna play for the first time, easy is better, I think. Are you excited for the Dragon Quest III remaster? Sure, I am. I've been excited for like 10,000 years when it was announced. If you only had a Switch, which game would you buy first? I will buy a physical copy of Unicorn Overlord. I don't have a physical copy of that game yet on any console. So I will probably set my sights on that game first. What would you prefer, Chrono Cross 2 or Odin Sphere 2? Chrono Cross 2, definitely. Odin Sphere doesn't need a sequel in my opinion. Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger both need sequels, I think so. Yeah, I would prefer Chrono Cross 2 definitely. Even though I think hard to discuss the possibility of Chrono Cross sequel without spoiling the heck out of the game. So that's a difficult question. The best I can offer is this. There were some, I don't want to call them plot holes, but more like some things that were left unexplained on purpose. It's not like the writer missed them. Masato Kato didn't like forget to explain this or that. Like there were some things that were like he left unexplained, maybe with the possibility of a sequel one day. But I think I've answered this question before, but I think what should happen is that we should definitely get a third game in the series, tying both games and explaining things, maybe to appease the fans, to end the division. I think Chrono Trigger fans need their direct sequel, their proper sequel, because Chrono Cross was never supposed to be a sequel. It was just freaking Squaresoft forcing Masato Kato to make it a sequel, which kind of ruined some of the Trigger magic in it. As much as I love Chrono Cross, I gotta give that to the fans of Trigger. They are right. It kind of butchered a bit the Chrono Trigger story, and it shouldn't have done that. But that wasn't Masato Kato's fault. That was Squaresoft fucking up with their stupid ideas. They should have left Masato Kato's vision intact, and Chrono Cross, wouldn't have messed with the Chrono Trigger characters in the first place. So I think Trigger needs a direct sequel first before we can see a Chrono Cross sequel first. But what I would want in a Chrono Cross sequel is the first thing that I want the most is something that involves heavy spoilers, so I'm not gonna say it. But the second thing is that we will need some kind of follow-up to some of the characters and the dimensional paradox that was left in there. And maybe we could do something about Harley. But it's so hard to discuss a Chrono Cross sequel without spoilers. But yeah, maybe I'll do a video about that. How would a Chrono Cross sequel be like? And warn viewers that I'm going to discuss the spoilers of the first game. But yeah, I still believe Chrono Trigger... I think the best outcome is just a new game in the series. But for that to happen... And nowadays, with modern politics and shit... Imagine. That's the problem, that Square Enix holds the rights to those games. That's the biggest problem. Knowing that Square Enix may go overboard and over budget on a new Chrono game, should they spend FF Remake money on it? I'd just answer that. Like, maybe it would be a better idea to leave the series dead. I'm having second thoughts that I don't know if I want a revival of the series. Especially not nowadays, man. Chrono Trigger is related in a lot of ways to Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross is a sequel, an indirect sequel, but still a sequel. It's a sequel to one of the many possibilities of Chrono Trigger's ending. If you want a Chrono sequel that is really good, play Crimson Echoes. Isn't that the fan-made video game? I've heard about it, I just haven't played it. Did you finish Suikoden 3 with all the characters alive? Yes. I've done 2 playthroughs. Full playthroughs on Suikoden 3. One with all characters and one with not all characters. Vagrant Story and Parasite Eve game on actual consoles. Oh yeah. Parasite Eve definitely. Parasite Eve definitely and desperately needs some kind of re-release. Anything. I would like that video because there are so many things to discuss about the story. I discussed a lot of things about that in the podcast, but a not too long video just dedicated to talking about the sequel will be a good idea. Would you like a Chrono Cross HD 2D remake? No, the remaster was fine. They just should have remastered the CGI cutscenes too. Freaking Square Enix, bunch of lazy bastards. But when they fixed the frame rate issues and the technical issues, the game looks beautiful. I loved the Chrono Cross remaster. Doesn't need a remake. An HD 2D wouldn't work for Chrono Cross. No. It will work wonders for Trigger though, just not for Cross. That's funny, man. Last questions, guys. Right? That's the best way to play Chrono Cross. Just forget about Trigger. And I always say this, you know, it's always better to play Cross first and then Trigger. Always better. 76 votes? Can we get it to 80 votes? Why do you think that Chrono Trigger is too overrated? I don't think the game is too overrated. It's a bit overrated. Because of the fans, most likely. But the game is... It achieved what it set out to do. And it made it. You know, it achieved that. So I don't think it's overrated. But it's more like overrated in terms of the fans put it on a silver platter. And if you criticize anything about it, they get pissed off and attack you. That's... 77 votes. Is that song from Cold Steel? It says here it's from Cold Steel. No, it's from Ao no Kiseki. This is from Trails to Azure. Predates Cold Steel. Yeah, it's just a small window here, the music player. So 78 votes. Come on, 2 more before I leave. We need to get this to 80, even though the outcome has already been established. Most people will want a Final Fantasy VI remake with HD 2D style of graphics, but I'm surprised a lot of people wanted like Final Fantasy VII remake. That's interesting. 2 more votes, come on. Vote, people. What was the first JRPG that made you go deep into the rabbit hole of that game? Chrono Cross. Oh man. Maybe Super Mario RPG, but video game walkthroughs weren't available back then. Chrono Cross is the one that made me go into a rabbit hole. Like, I wanted to know everything and play everything and get everything and 100% it and complete it. And Chrono Cross was that game. Although, like I said, Super Mario RPG is a close second, but no, Chrono Cross is the first one that made me go batshit crazy. Which one JRPG game designer would you like to meet? Masato Kato. But definitely, that's my first answer. And then Yasunori Mitsuda, but that's not a game designer, that's a composer, so he doesn't count. Game designer, yeah, Masato Kato. Tetsuya Takahashi, definitely. Well, I met the creator of Shadow Hearts, and I interviewed the creator of Shadow Hearts, so that happened already in an interview. I would love to meet him in person, though, not just through a Zoom phone call, a video call, you know. Well, yeah. There's a lot of them that I would love to meet. I'd love to meet George Kamitani from Vanillaware. Yet, man. Definitely that guy. I'd love to meet Sho Sokaga, the creator of Fire Emblem. Even though I'm a bigger fan of the games that he didn't work on, the franchise wouldn't exist without him. So there we go. That's it, Murayama. He passed away. I would have loved to meet Yoshitaka Murayama. Even if it was just through a small interview like the one I did with the creator of Shadow Hearts, Matsuo Machida. Ah, man. Murayama will be missed. Would have loved to meet him in person. 80 votes! So that's it. 63% of people, based on 80 people, want a Final Fantasy VI Remake with the HD 2D graphics. 36% want it in the style of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Okay. That's it, guys. That's it. Thanks a lot for... Oh, you joined late, Interlocutor. I was just about to leave. But nice to see you too, man. And it's been a while. Haven't seen you around in a few weeks or even months. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining, tuning in. And I will see you in the next Q&A. Have a great weekend. And I hope you're looking forward to my next 10 things you didn't know about. Next episode coming out in 2 days. Later, everybody. Take care.